Yeah, but I mean, obviously not the result we wanted, but also probably not the fight that we expected. It's just a little. I feel bad for the guys a little bit. We didn't play like we practiced. We just seemed a little hesitant and put ourselves in a hole early, and you could see the confidence they had and they were playing with, and I think that initial struggle at the beginning almost, while it made them stronger, I think we started to press a little bit, and even though we had some moments where we really did fight and compete, even right out of the half, cutting it to 9 at that first media timeout, we had done what we needed to do. We just kind of couldn't sustain it. But I mean, they're really good. They're really good. They do a really good job talking. They're in the right spots. They take those challenges of guarding the ball, and they just make you earn points. And I think this will be a really, really good opportunity for us to break down the film with the guys and show them what did work, because I think we're capable of playing a lot better and just being stubborn kind of in getting better looks and having a security about us to get better looks, and if it doesn't go in, we're okay with it. We're gonna do the same thing on the next possession. But again, that's a tried and true established program, and they just made it tough for us tonight.
Did UCLA hedging some of those ball screens with Bryce early on sort of take you guys out of what you wanted to do offensively?
Not necessarily. The hedges were, even going back to last game, we thought that people would start doing that after seeing Wichita do it and it having some success. But what they did a really good job of, even when we try to bring two defenders to Bryce, is they were very active, and they made it hard for those passes to be on time, on target, out of there. So really, that was just a credit, especially to Johnson. He got out there and was doing a really good job, and then the length they have. So I think we went over some of that stuff. They just made it really difficult to execute out of it.
And then on the three-point shooting, your immediate reaction to shot selection-wise, did you think most of those were good shots that didn't go in, or some of them were bad shots?
Yeah, I think it'd be hard to tell. I mean, 6 of 27, I don't know how many of those were kind of in the last, that number might be a little bit skewed there, because you're kind of shooting some maybe you definitely wouldn't want to take in the first 34-ish minutes, but when you're in a little bit of a hole and trying to get some momentum going. So there's definitely a handful of those, but even then, I think there was a lot of shots that were just right there, and a lot of possessions even when we were just maybe one more driving kick away from a better look instead of just an okay or a good look. But that's why I think this film would be great for us, because I think this is going to be an opportunity to show the guys, as good as UCLA is. I mean, they're elite, obviously as a team, but even defensively, we've got to be more stubborn about getting into the paint and driving and kicking and moving and doing those things. But again, they make it really hard, because they're in gaps, they're active, and they take on that challenge of stopping the ball every play.
You kind of touched on this in your statement, but you had a scoreless drought in the second half. It's happened a few times this year. From your vantage point, is there any common thread that causes the offense to bog down, whether it's shot selection or ball movement or whatever you may think it is? Is there something that's causing that, or is it just spells that you guys seem to go through on offense?
I remember us talking about that a few days ago, and I didn't really attribute it to much. But now I think that we've got enough of a sample size to where we can kind of dissect those stretches a little bit more. So while I don't really have an answer for you right now on that, I do think that that's something we're going to take a really long, hard look at here in the next few days, and just kind of see what that common thread is, and if we can find it and hopefully change it. But again, we're a high energy group, and it does feel, though, now especially as you mentioned it's happened a few times. And if we're not going to play with a ton of energy flying around and being active and talking, then we're going to struggle. And so I think, now we're probably at that point where we can look at it and hope to find, as you mentioned, that common thread.
As well as anyone, these can't hurt you playing these kind of teams in the long run. Do you have a sense of your team that you can get to them, and no matter what the score was, that this will help you, especially in conference when it's probably going to be difficult this year a lot of places?
Well, it doesn't make it any more fun, Ed.
No, not fun, but do you have the kind of team who will understand when you give them that message?
No, there's a little bit of that. I think, it's getting I don't want to keep playing. I'm kind of tired of playing the new team card. And I think this is a group now where we're going to start demanding that that's done. And but to that extent, yeah, I think we will pick, like the good, and pick and start, just making it no exceptions. Like that's what these guys can do it. These guys can absolutely do it, and we will continue to get better. Again, 2 top 5 teams. Michigan at the time in the first 2.5 weeks as a group together we threw a lot at them, but we wouldn't have done it. I mean, we had options to get out or reschedule, and because of COVID messed everything up with the schedules and the returns and all that, and we didn't do it because of this group. But they're not happy, and that's good because especially with a better crowd out there today, I just didn't really think that we kind of left the image in their mind of how they want to be represented and how they want to represent UNLV, because they've done so good really up until this point.
Kevin, your thoughts on the bench struggling today too? This is both Josh and Keyshawn and those guys have been successful when you guys have won games this year. Just kind of your overall thoughts regarding the struggles today for them.
Yeah, I think with those guys, you got to attribute a lot of that to UCLA. Just again, they're so secure and solid in what they do, and I think that we went through those stretches, as Mike mentioned. I think a lot of those could even be, where it's defense affects the offense affects the defense, however you want to word it. But those are 2 high energy guys, and it does feel like, there's just a little bit of timidness on their part. But no, I mean, those are still guys we're going to ride with, still guys we're going to go with. I mean, Keyshawn still gets in there and he goes after the ball. I mean, Keyshawn's going to do what Keyshawn's going to do, which that's what we love about him, and that's why he's going to keep playing. But I think as much as anybody, Bake will be somebody that we can sit down and even get more specific with him about what we're looking for and how we want things to be. But again, I don't think we need to think the sky is falling necessarily. I think a lot of it's just really, what UCLA is and who they are. They make things difficult.
Coach, I just want to ask about this week coming up with SMU and San Francisco, really your first road trip with these guys. Just talk about the preparation this week and what you expect in practice.
Yeah, I think that, this is, again, being a group, I think they'll respond well to practice. I think Monday, if you're there, you'll see a group that's, they understand. They won't be rah-rah and fake, but they'll have a different level of intensity to them. They've bounced back after each loss and had good days because they do understand. But that was one of the reasons we did a closed-door scrimmage on the road, was with a new group to prepare us for a road trip. And so it's not completely foreign to us, but I think it's just another great opportunity. Unfortunately, the quote-unquote 3 great opportunities we've had, we've been on the wrong side of all 3, but that's the nice part. Again, that's why they came here, to play these games, to play tough road games and get better and have those opportunities every night.
Sorry, I know you mentioned Keyshawn a little bit earlier. He made some things happen there, like you said. Are there more minutes available to him at some point?
Oh, absolutely. I think, if I was to self-reflect right now, just kind of a knee-jerk reaction, probably should have gotten him out there a little more. Because he does. You can feel it. You can feel that energy, and I'd never hear the crowd. I don't hear things that are said. I don't know what's going on timeouts, but when he gets up there and heats up the ball and gets after it, I can hear it. It's weird, but it's one of those things that I can actually. And then when you see a guy doing that, even as a player, things are different. You give a little more. So yeah, that might be something where we get him in there quicker and earlier, just to kind of change the tempo a little bit and kind of let him loose and kind of see what happens. Because again, with Keyshawn, you don't have to worry about him fighting and competing. He's going to do that. Now he might not make as many shots as you want him to, or he might turn it over here and there. But if he's going to create turnovers on defense and he might turn it over 1 or 2 times being a freshman. I think that's something you got to live with.
Donovan, what do you think UCLA did defensively to sort of take you guys out of the game early?
I think they just played their style of defense. I think ultimately they just came out and they just executed offensively and defensively better than we did. I think, you know, they stayed in front, they stayed in gaps. I think for us, the challenge was just trying to create a better shots than we got up tonight.
And for Bryce, is there anything you guys can change at this point in the season as far as three-point shooting goes, or do you guys just have to start making them?
It's just kind of piggyback what Donovan said. You know, just being able to get good shots. I still feel like we're a good shooting team. The more passes and the more we drive and create for each other, we'll get better open shots, and you know, we'll start knocking them down.
Yeah, Donovan, you guys had a scoreless drought, almost 7 minutes in the second half. That's happened a few times this year. When you're on the court as a player, do you know that that's happening? Can you like sense like, hey, we haven't scored in a while, like, and does that like sort of weigh on you while you're on the court, or do you not even realize it?
For me, I can't speak for everybody else, but I know for me, like, it's hard for me to even think about that because, I mean, if we don't make the shot, we got to get back and play defense. So it's, as the game goes along, like in that 7 minute span of time, like, you know, we're just trying to play, even though like we realize we're missing shots, but we don't know that it's been 7 minutes since we made one. We're just trying to move on to the next play. So I think as a player, I mean, you don't really think about it. You're just trying to win the game. You're just trying to find any type of way to get back into the game. Defense, offense, get to the free throw line, something. We're just trying to find something that gets us going.
And Bryce, sort of the same thing. Do you feel it? Do you sense it when there's a drought going on, and do you press a little bit, or do you just sort of stay in the game and not even realize it at the time?
Yeah, same. You know, we don't really realize it really. Coaches may say something about it every now and then, but you know, that's something, you know, we should probably be more aware of, and you know, just try to get to the free throw line and you know, just be better on offense.
Bryce, in the first half, there's really nothing at the rim except a few transitions. Did that just get frustrating because there was just nothing inside?
I wouldn't say frustrating. You know, UCLA had a great game plan on us. You know, I just felt like, you know, we just got to move the ball better. You know, I think we made 17 field goals and about 12 of them was assisted. So it just shows that, you know, when we move the ball, good things happen. And that's just something we just have to emphasize more.
Appreciate y'all.